Hey book lovers, Victoria here and you're watching My Books Me. Today I'm bringing you my next wrap up video and this is for books 26 to 34. And the reason why it's taken me so long to get around to making this, one, I've been super busy. Two, I reread 4 books in this time period and they're books that I've only read within the last 6 months that I've talked about in wrap up videos. So I wanted to have read 5 books other than those 4 to talk about, so I'm just going to gloss over those books when I get to them. So let's just dive right in. This will be the first of 2 wrap-up videos that we'll be posting within a couple of days of each other, so definitely check out the other one when it goes up. Firstly, we have Just For Now by Abby Glines. This is I think it's the 5th book in the Seabreeze series. This is following Preston Drake and Amanda Harding. This is obviously, for those who everyone should know, if you're watching my channel you will know, this is a new adult contemporary romance series, and this is following Preston and Amanda, who have known each other all their life. Preston is Amanda's brother's BFF. Yeah, Preston has this reputation for sleeping around and the fact that he has a very secret side that he doesn't really reveal to anyone, but Amanda has had a crush on him for so long they actually end up hooking up behind the local bar one night. Turns out Preston was blind, drunk, and did not remember hooking up with her. Amanda is kind of confused that he's never brought it up, and Preston has always just thought it was a very vivid dream that he's had about Amanda. The two of them end up growing closer to one another, especially when Amanda starts helping him with some crap that's been going on with his family, because the job that he does on the side that he keeps a secret is to help his 3 younger siblings and his mum is kind of just, she's a bitch, to be honest, and so he sort of takes care of them and he's trying to save up enough and obviously also go to school, so that way, go to college. Can't quite remember, but he's trying to save up enough money and trying to get a really good education so that way he can try and get custody of them, because his mum has left them alone for several days on end, and Amanda is just there to help out, and it's the first time he's really ever let anyone into that part of his life for a while. There was one time when he had Marcus over to his house when they were younger, and after that Marcus never really talked about it and understood that there was stuff going on in Preston's life, and Preston has never had anyone over at his house since, well, his mum's house, he lives in an apartment, and he just they go closer and it's really, really good. I think I gave this a 4 or 4.5 out of 5 stars, I don't really know, but I'm really enjoying this series, so I'm really loving all these books. Then I read book 5 in the Seabreeze series, and that is Sometimes It Lasts. This is actually the second book to Cage and Eva's story, which was started in While It Lasts, and this takes place 6 months after that book. They've been living in Seabreeze together in Cage's apartment, and Cage has been getting ready to go off to college on a baseball scholarship, and Eva will tag along, and I'm not quite sure what she was planning on doing, but anyway, they're going to go together. But then Eva finds out that her father is suffering from cancer and he doesn't have that much longer to live, so she returns home to the family farm to look after him, along with her neighbor and best friend Jeremy. And Cage decides, well, they both decide that Cage is going to go off to college, get an apartment, play baseball, and he'll be there waiting for her when she arrives in a couple months' time, under the saddest circumstances of her father dying. While they're away and living their own lives and trying to handle being apart from each other and what's happening in their own world, there's a lot of miscommunication between both of them, and they end up breaking up, and it's kind of a really sad breakup because neither of them give each other the chance to explain what happened and what went wrong and everything. And Eva then finds out that not only does her father really not have that long to live, he is, death is approaching him, and she's not ready to let go because she's already lost her mother and she's already had to say goodbye to her fiance. She's had so much loss in her life that she's just not ready to let go, and already having lost Cage to the stuff that happened, she's just not ready for what's happening. And then she finds out something else, and she knows that that's something she's going to have to deal with after her father dies. And Jeremy's going to be there, but she doesn't really want Jeremy to be there. She wants Jeremy to go out and live his own life because he's just always hung around. One of the reasons is because Jeremy is actually in love with Eva, and there's a lot to deal with. This was a very emotional journey I absolutely love these two. These are definitely my two favorite. This is definitely my favorite couple from this series so far, because I haven't finished the series. But this was just such an emotional book and beautiful. I'm so glad that they got a continuation, and I gave this book 4.5 out of 5 stars. Now on to the 4 books that I reread. I don't even know why I reread these, but I did. The first one is Grey by E.L. James. This makes it the 3rd time I've read it this year. This is the 4th book in the 50 Shades series, and this is 50 Shades of Grey from Christian's perspective. I kind of prefer the first book from his perspective. It's just, I don't know, but I read this. And then because I've always sort of felt like the 50 Shades series kind of is similar but not really to the Too Far series by Abby Glines, I picked up Rush Too Far, which is the 4th book in the Rosemary Beach series, but this is Fallen Too Far from Rush's perspective, because I prefer this than Fallen Too Far, and the other books in the series are alternating perspectives. So I read this, and then naturally I went on and read Never Too Far and Forever Too Far, just to finish off that part of the series. I'm proud of myself for the fact that then I did not continue on with the Rosemary Beach series. I'm proud, but for some, yeah, more rereads for me. So on to the next book that I actually read for the first time, and that is Queens of Geek by Jen Wild. Oh my god, this was an amazing book, and I've actually already done a spoiler-free review video for this, so go check that out if you want to know more. I give this book 5 out of 5 stars. It was amazing. It is a contemporary book about 3 friends from Melbourne who go to SuperCon in America. Our main character, one of our main characters, Charlie, she's a vlogger and an actress promoting her first movie at SuperCon, and she's trying to show that she's over her very public breakup from her co-star. While there, she meets like her all-time crush and favorite vlogger, what's her name? Alyssa Huntington, and she realizes that her crush on her is not one-sided, and they start to form a relationship. And then we have Taylor, who she suffers from social anxiety. She's on the autism spectrum with Asperger's syndrome, and going to SuperCon is like a very big thing for her, and it's a way that she's hoping to show herself that the change that are coming up in their lives, the fact that they're finishing high school, they're graduating, and they're going to move to LA to go to school, she wants this to be a way to show and prove to herself that she is strong enough to go through all this change and everything like that. And she wants to meet her favorite author, and this in turn puts her into doing this fan contest that really puts her in the spotlight among everyone else at SuperCon, and putting herself out there, which is something she's never really done. At the same time, she has got the biggest crush on her best friend, Jamie, the 3rd person in this trio, who doesn't actually have a perspective in this book, which is what I was kind of annoyed about. Jamie also has a crush on Taylor. The two of them sort of have this weird, like, friendship relationship kind of thing. They're a mix between, like, it's a friendship that has flirting in it, and Charlie has been wanting them to get together for so long, and there's stuff that happens with that as well. Yeah, definitely go check out my video if you want to know more of my thoughts. But I loved this book so much. Then the next book I read was an ebook, and that is Because of Him by Jessica Rowe. This is the 1st book in the something series. It is a companion novel series. It is a new adult romance, and I really liked this. This was free on the iBooks store, which is why I downloaded it, just to give it a go. It sounded like something I'd be interested in. We are following, I think her name's Blair. Yes, Blair. Her mother had died of an overdose. She'd been living with her friend for 6 months or a couple of months when her father contacted her, and she's never met her father. Her father was married, had a couple of kids, and then had an affair with her mother. Her mother obviously was pregnant with her, and her father's just never had any contact, went back to his wife, has not had any contact with her until her mother died, and he offers her a place to stay at his house in order to finish her final year at high school, so then she can go off and do whatever it is she wants to do. She just knows that she wants to make something of her life, so that way she doesn't follow what happened to her mother, being a drug addict. And no, I don't think she was a prostitute. I think she was just a drug addict, but didn't really have much of a life. En route to her father's house, she stops at a diner to get something to eat, and she ends up meeting this guy. She steals his parking space, buys him an apology pie, and they spend like the next half an hour or something flirting but arguing. It's kind of like really cute. And when they leave together, when they walk out together, they end up making out in the back of his truck. They almost get it on until her phone rings, reminding her that she is going to her inevitable doom. So they part ways without finding out each other's names. So at her father's place, she is not very welcome at all. No one really wants her there except for her older brother, who really likes her and doesn't really care about what's happened and just wants to get to know her as a person, and her younger brother and sister, who really want to get to know her, but their mother is like, no, you are not going anywhere near her. She ends up making friends with the old lady across the street called Yolanda, and she ends up calling her Granny Yo, and Yolanda really sort of just takes her in under her wing, makes her feel welcome, and makes her feel not alone, because she doesn't think she deserves being treated badly by her family when she hasn't done anything wrong. She then ends up meeting her grandson, and it turns out his name is Silver, or Sylvester, but everyone calls him Silver. Well, she calls him Silver. Turns out he is the guy that she hooked up with at the diner, and they sort of just continue on with their little flirty arguing thing that they've got going on until they find out that any relationship they want to have is kind of forbidden. I'm not going to tell you why, but let's just say this book reminded me a lot of Pretty Little Liars. And despite the fact that they can't be together, they form this bond because Sylvester doesn't care about her past and what he's heard about her from her family. And he's just someone who accepts her for who she is and doesn't really care. So despite not allowed being together, they do get close to one another, to the point where Blair realizes she's falling in love with him and that they can't be together, and they have to go through quite a lot of things, and in the end they are together. And it was really nice. I gave this 4.5 out of 5 stars. It was just a really great contemporary. I'm really excited to continue on with the rest of this series. It is a companion novel series, and the characters that we get to focus on are ones that I'm excited to read about. And yeah, as I said, this reminded me so much of the very beginning of Pretty Little Liars. So that might be a spoiler as to why this romance is forbidden, but I really liked it, and I know a lot of other people have too. Finally, the last book I'm going to be talking about in this video is The Turning by Tim Winton. This is a collection of 17 short stories that are set in and around a couple of towns, or a couple of fictional towns in Western Australia. What I really love about this collection is that they are all overlapping and interconnecting stories. Several characters appear across several stories in different life stages, and in some stories you get hinted at about other things that you've either read about with these characters or that will be coming up in another story. And some of them take place in, because they all take place in the same area, you also get references to events that are then mentioned in another person's story, and it feels like that these characters could cross paths even though you never get to see that. And I really liked it. I read this from cover to cover. I actually listened to the audiobook for this, and it just felt like this novel. It felt like we were looking at the lives of all these different people in this area, and even though we didn't get to see them cross paths, it felt like you could. I really liked it. I'm not really big on short story collections. I haven't read many, but sometimes I just find it difficult because they're not always things that you can read cover to cover. You know, you just read stories here or there, but this is definitely one you can read cover to cover. I really liked it. I gave this, what did I give this? I think I gave it 4.5 out of 5 stars. I can't quite remember, but it was really good. I definitely highly recommend it. It's the first time I've read anything by Tim Winton, and I really enjoyed it. And I'm really excited to read more of his work. And these stories, as it explains, they are turnings of all kinds, changes of heart, nasty surprises, slow awakenings, sudden detours, where people struggle against the terrible weight of the past and challenge the lives they've made for themselves. And I have to say now that there is some graphic stuff in here, some really sad stuff, but some also really happy and some funny stuff. But it is a lot of it's emotional journeys, and I thought this was really good. I definitely recommend it. So they are books so those are books 26 to 34 that I have read this year, and they're all really good. I'm really glad with all the books I've read this year. They've all been really good. Stay tuned. I just realized my Queens of Geek review will actually be going up on Sunday, so wait for that. On Monday, I will be uploading my next wrap-up video. So stay tuned for that one, and stay tuned for my Queens of Geek review, because you want to know more about this book. It is fantastic. Other than that, I will see you guys soon with another video. Bye!